I want to give you seven ideas and seven things to think about for where, as far as you trying to figure out where can I find these deals now, and what type of things I can do to get the best deal possible. So seven areas, at least seven topics in real estate. Um, I will go over now, and this first one is location. Second one is condition or size. Third one is desperation of the seller. Fourth one is bank-owned real estate. The fifth one is auction. The sixth one is multifamily, multi-use properties. The seventh one is family and friends. So for the first one, location, here we're dealing with okay, where we're gonna look, right? And I would tell you that the edges of a great neighborhood. What do I mean by that? Looking on the edges of these great neighborhoods, right? Because gentrification is pushing outward. You have development and construction and things being built within the edges of these great neighborhoods. So just looking on the edges of these great neighborhoods and looking at the amenities that's being built, whether it's a library, bike path, a mall, hospital, colleges, just new infrastructure around the edges of these great neighborhoods, which is usually going to be in the suburbs and the outskirts of these cities, right? So that is one of the starting points, one of your beginning starting points I would consider if I was looking for a great deal. Number two, we mentioned earlier, is condition or size. You could drive around and you could take the smallest, ugliest, or even the most outdated house within the neighborhood, and you could purchase that and flip that into a great real estate opportunity. So it's almost like an investor basically coming in and flipping the house. That would be more focused potentially on just investors in general, because you are trying to, make your money and move on to your next opportunity. Number three, desperation of the seller. You have a lot of listings and properties on the market. So the sellers are just trying to get rid of their house or their property, and they're desperate. So if they're desperate, if you think about it, if you just speak with them and get into a negotiation situation and speak with them and talk to them and find out their situation, and then if you can eventually get that seller to agree to a short sale, their bank has to agree to it. If you can get the seller to authorize and see if their bank can agree to a short sale, if the sellers are that desperate, then a lot of times you can get a very, very extra special deal. So make sure that you're talking and negotiating with the seller and the seller's bank to see if they can agree on a special deal, an extra special deal. Because if they're desperate, they will drop the price, and they will agree to the price that you set, because you're in control of the situation, being that you're proposing and giving putting an offer on the table for the seller that's very desperate at this point. They're willing to go with anything. So number four, a bank-owned real estate. Bank-owned real estate is just foreclosures or properties that were acquired by banks through deeds in lieu of foreclosure. So basically, they come back on the market, these foreclosures, and you could possibly get a deal when they come on the market. They're not usually offered through your typical real estate channel. So you're gonna have to do the extra research to find out what sites, what websites, what locations, what address, what the time and the dates as far as when the event is gonna happen, so that you can take advantage the best as you can of getting a great deal. And they do go through certain, like I say, different real estate channels, these bank-owned real estate foreclosed properties, which usually is a different type of auction, right? So that leads us to number five, which are auctions. But instead of the bank owning, you have the seller that actually still owns their property, but they're just desperate and they're trying to unload the asset quickly. They may not be desperate, okay, because that goes back to number three, but they are definitely trying to They're trying to unload their asset as quickly as possible. So putting it online and trying to get get a deal done and give it to the highest bidder, looking for the highest bidder. That is one way to actually get to, that's number 5. That's actually a good day. Another good idea as far as how to get a great real estate deal. Number 6, multifamily, multi-use properties. Here you buy a building, right, with multiple residential units, and you actually live in the actual building that you're renting out, just temporarily or for a while, however, and then you collect your revenue, and you collect your rent, but you're renting out, and that's a form of income. And you do this for a while until you actually have enough to move out and buy a bigger piece of property, but you're still keeping that first property and you're still renting it out to those that are living there. So you continue to grow that way, and your income is continuing to grow that way as you continue to add assets. But that first building is what sets the stage for you to build and save up enough money from the income of your other renters so that you can actually have the money that leads up to the income that you need to actually buy another piece of property. So that's a great way. And then number 7, family and friends. This is, you go through family and you go through your friends, basically the same for both, but going through your family, you have extended family. So going further through your primary family and just into the extended, through talking and just catching up. That is a great way to find out where everybody's life situation is at that particular point in life, and catching up with family and extended family. And that is one way to find deals as well, because a lot of times our family are moving, they're relocating, they're looking to go to other areas within the country, or just to move to a different region. So you can kind of get the heads up if a family or extended family nearby is trying to move and they just need to offload their property. You could be the first one to get it before it even gets listed on the MLS. So please, reach out to your family. Please talk to them about their real estate, if their real estate ambition or their current real estate situation, to find out what's going to happen to that real estate. And then same thing with friends. You just talk to your friends, and see if they know somebody. Talk to your friends and look at the area, the neighborhoods that they're in. If it's a neighborhood that you like, have your friends find out for you. Sometimes they can go and talk to their neighbors, but just finding out who's going to be selling soon. Now, it may not be this month or next month or even this year, but who's thinking about selling soon? That could be your opportunity to get introduced. So you have your friend, set a meeting for between that neighbor and you, and you get introduced, and then before it even hits the market, you already, you're going to be one of the first ones that seller talks to when they actually think about selling their property. So that's just different ways to get property, just going through friends, going through family that's thinking about selling, or friends that know somebody that's thinking about selling really soon. So I hope this helps. Talk to you soon, and you guys have a good day.